you want to have everything set up so that you can easily access everything. I have 10s, one on each side. I have my 5s and I have my 3s, and you'll kind of have to move things around as you go. I always like to start Yoga Strong with a little bit of a freestyle warm-up just to get the blood flowing and circulating. So it is what it is. It's freestyle movement. So what you can do, and I'm going to set a timer for about 5 minutes or so. So a couple options. You can simulate jump rope. That is one option. You can come into a boxer shuffle. Let me set the timer. All right. So you can simulate jump rope. You can come into a little bit of a boxer shuffle. You can jog on the spot. If you're not into jumping, don't worry about it. You can just kind of keep your heels on the floor and just move around a little bit. And don't be afraid to move around on your mat. Like, there's no right or wrong way to start. So just allow this dynamic 5-minute warm-up to be pretty intuitive. So I've seen people sometimes stop completely and go to the wall and do some sort of stretching on the wall. It's whatever your body needs right now to get you in the zone, okay? So we're just starting to wake up the nervous system gently a little bit. We're starting to get the blood flowing and circulating. And if you can, and I definitely won't be today because I'll be talking you guys through this, but if you can, try to stay with a natural nostril breath, breathing in and out of the nose. So especially when we go into our cardio intervals, I always recommend that you stay with that nostril breathing. And if you notice that your mouth is opening or wants to open, dial back the intensity of the movement so that you can breathe in and out of your nose. You can shake the arms up. So we're going until the timer goes off. I set it for 5 minutes. Change up the moves if you need to. Just giving the body some energy. So like I said, we're going to be playing with contralateral movement today throughout Yoga Strong, using load and resistance. At any point, take your time, do what you need to do. If you're not feeling the shape, maybe you take your interpretation of the shape. Maybe you take a break. The last thing I want is for you guys to feel really gassed after this. I want you to feel like you have enough energy to sustain you for the rest of your evening, okay? Starting to feel good. Now, if you're like me, you might sweat. I have a towel and water with me because I can't go an hour and sweat without it. Those are some of the essentials. So I created this class over 4 years ago when I recognized that there was a need to add resistance to the body. And this class has kind of evolved ever since. So I'm always adding new things, new moves to this kind of sequence that I've created. It's a little bit of a template. And so Yoga Strong is definitely one of the most popular classes, I would say, that I teach. If you're simulating jump rope, think of taking your shoulders down away from the ears and squeezing the shoulder blades together. Also, we can start to warm up the wrists and the elbows at the same time. Feel free to jog around if you have space at home. We should be getting to the home stretch here with our warm-up. All right, there we go. There's the warm-up done. Okay, so grab everything you need. Like I said, I'm going to add ankle weights to this practice today because why not? But it's not a necessity. So this is something that I've worked up to in my own practice. Okay. So I want you to grab a set of weights. I'm going to go with 10s here. You can decide whatever it is you need. Let's come towards the top of the mat. Feet are about hips distance apart. And just kind of let the weights pull your shoulders down away from the ears. So there should be lots of space between your ears and the tops of your shoulders. You're going to start to tuck the chin in towards the chest. You're going to round your neck. You're going to round your spine, and just let the weights and gravity start to pull you to the floor, piece by piece. So we're coming into some loaded spinal mobility. And this one feels so good. It's like a really nice stretch for the back side of the body. And once you get to the bottom, kind of hang out here. Let the weights pull you down. And then you're going to press down into the heels and very slowly start to peel back up to stand. Piece by piece. So looking for that segmentation through the spine. Let your head be the last to come up. And we're going to do this a couple more times. So when you're ready, start to tuck the chin in towards the chest. Round your neck. Round your spine. Piece by piece. Start to slowly lower. Hang out at the bottom, let the weights and gravity pull you down, very effortless through the upper body, and then very slowly start to peel up, one piece at a time. And then let's do this one more time. Tuck the chin, round the spine. Imagine that you are moving one vertebrae at a time. We probably won't be, but just envision one piece at a time. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and take the weights off to the side. You're going to step your right foot back. Let's come onto the right knee. So we have a couple options here. You can always use blocks under the hands. You can stay onto your fingertips, or you're going to grab one weight here. You're going to hold onto the weight. So you're going to come forward into the low lunge, squeeze your right glute, and then start to send your hips back, straighten through that front leg. So hands or no hands. Come forward. I'm going no hands. I'm using a weight here. Squeeze the right glute as you come forward, and then start to send the hips back. Right toes can be tucked under or top of the right foot, whatever you like. I'm going for some extra toe mobility here. And you're just going to go forward and back. So just adding some dynamic movement to the hips, to the hamstrings. The weight is just giving us some load to work with. Great, and then the next time the left knee bends, we're going to take the weight off to the side. Plant your palms. Let's press to our first downward facing dog. And maybe pedaling out through the legs, bending one knee at a time. And then from here, let's come forward to high plank. Push the floor away. Pull your ribs into the body. Squeeze your glutes. Keep pushing the floor away. And then press back, downward facing dog. Let's do that twice more. Pull forward, high plank. Push the floor away. Downward facing dog. Press back. Pull forward, high plank. Pause here. Slowly lower the knees. And see if you can lower chest, belly, thighs at the same time while you come onto the belly. From here, we're going to take the arms into a cactus position, but you're not going to push your arms into the floor. We're going to isolate through thoracic extension. Start with your forehead on the floor, press your pelvis into the floor, and then all I want you to think about is pulling your chest forward. This is going to lift your head, but your chin is still tucked in. You're not going to lift that high. And then slowly lower back down. Let's do that a few more times. Lift and push your chest forward. Keep tucking the chin, isolating right in between your shoulder blades. And then slowly lower. One more just like that, just warming up the spine. Great, let's gently release. Plant your palms, let's press to all fours. And we're going to take some cat and cow. When you're ready, push the floor away, round your spine, tuck and squeeze the belly. And then start to arch. Sternum, tailbone lifts, maybe you look up. And just going in and out here, through flexion, extension of the spine. Okay. Let's find a neutral spine. Take your right shoulder to your right hip. And then maybe look over your shoulder. Squeeze through the right side of the body. Come back to center. Switch. So just coming into some lateral flexion for the spine. And just really using the sides of your waist to go from side to side. Excellent. And then from here, we're going to press the downward facing dog. Right leg lifts. So this is going to be great if you're using a weight, because now we're going to get some resistance in the hamstring. So you're going to bring your right heel towards your right glute. So instead of taking it over to the left, which isn't wrong or bad, it's just different, I want you to focus on getting some knee flexion through the right, but also really contracting and curling the hamstring muscle. Push the floor away, and then from here, we're going to step the right foot forward. Come onto the left knee. Feel free to keep your hands down, or we're going to grab a weight. We're going to come forward into the lunge, squeeze your left glute, and then start to send the hips back. Press down through that right heel, pull the thigh back, and then start to peel forward. So just going forward and back here. And if you're not using your hands, it's going to take a little bit more balance, which is fine. Great. And then come forward, take the weight off to the side. You're going to step forward and fold. Grab onto the other weight. So now you have both weights in the hands. Press down into the heels. And then round your spine. And and start to slowly peel up, one piece at a time. Coming all the way up to stand. And then from here, you're gonna tuck the chin, round the neck, round the top of your spine, and piece by piece, start to slowly lower 1 inch. And then let's take the weights off to the side. We're gonna step the left foot back again. Come onto the left knee, grab your weight, send your hips back. Again, you don't have to use the weight, you can use your hands. And then start to peel forward. Squeeze the left glute. Send the hips back. And then pull forward. Just going in and out of the lunge. And then we'll come forward, weight off to the side, and we'll press to downward facing dog. Pull forward, high plank. Pause here. Pull the ribs into the body. Push the floor away. And then press back to downward facing dog. 2 more just like that. Pull forward, high plank. Push the floor away. Press back to downward facing dog. Pull forward, high plank. This time you have the option to keep the knees up as you slowly lower all the way onto the belly. Again, point the toes, press your pelvis into the floor. Let's take the arms back into that cactus position. Don't use your arms though here. Keep the forehead down to start. And then let's isolate through the upper spine by pushing your chest forward. The head is going to lift. And then slowly lower with control. 2 more just like that. Keep the chin tucked in towards the chest. Push your chest forward. Slowly lower. 1 more. And then gently release. Let's press to all fours. So we're going to come into our first kind of contralateral movement. And I think this one's really common, especially in yoga, bird dog. But I'm going to add resistance to the bird dog. And now that I have ankle weights, I'm going to add more resistance to my hips. So from here, let's keep the left hand down and try not to just sink into the left shoulder. Really actively push into the floor. You're going to hover your left knee. You're going to reach the right arm forward as you extend the left leg. Okay, it doesn't matter how high you go. Try not to overly arch the low back. From here, you're going to bend the right arm, bend the left knee, round your spine, and then start to reach. And we'll do that a few times. I'm really doing my best here to keep my ribs in. I have a tendency to flare and buckle in my spine. So I'm going a little slower so that I can focus on pulling my ribs in and trying to connect to that 3-dimensional breathing in my core, which is going to help me stabilize through these kind of movements. Let's do 2 more. One more. And then gently release. Let's switch. Grab the weight. I'm using 3 pounds. Root down through the right hand. From here, let's hover the right knee. Let's reach and extend the left arm, right leg. Bend your left elbow, bend your right knee, round the spine a little bit, and then press. Bend, reach. Couple more. right hand into the floor, pulling the ribs into the body. Let's do one more. And then gently release. Weight off to the side. Let's press to downward facing dog. Left leg lifts. Bend your left knee, curl your hamstring. Imagine that you're trying to kick your heel to your glute. Left heel, left glute. Super curl the hamstring here. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then let's step the left foot forward. We'll come onto the right knee. Let's grab our weight. Or you're using the hands. This is our last time here with these lunges. Sink into the hips. Squeeze your right glute. Send the hips back. And then come forward, bend. Send the hips back. So this is our last round here. Maybe starting to feel a little bit more warmed up in the hips, in the hamstrings. Great. The next time the left knee bends, let's step forward, fold, grab onto your waist, press down into your heels, and slowly start to peel up. One piece at a time. Squeeze your glutes at the top. We're going to hold on to our weights. We're going to do the opposite of rounding the spine. Practicing our hip hinges, but this time we're loaded with the weights. So feet about hip distance apart. Soft bend into the knees. Hinge at your hips. Pelvis tilts forward as you go halfway. Pull the ribs into the body. And then press yourself up to stand. And again, soft bend into the knees, hinge at the hips. Imagine that you're trying to pull your heels behind you, but they're not actually moving. So it's a static contraction. And if you want more, you can even imagine that you are trying to rip your mat in half with your feet at the same time. So heels backwards and then feet apart. That'll really wake up your hamstrings here. So we're just looking for that eccentric contraction in the backs of your hamstrings. And if you're a deadlifter, like this is a deadlift pretty much. But in yoga, we hinge a lot in our sun salutations. Okay, the next time you're in the hinge, pause. Think of pulling the heels back, pulling the feet apart, pull your ribs in, and then fold over the thighs. Weights off to the side. Let's press to downward facing dog. Pull forward, high plank. Push the floor away. Press back, downward facing dog. Two more just like that. Pull forward, high plank. Press back, downward facing dog. Pull forward, high plank. Knees up or down, lower onto the belly. Okay, so we're going to go for hip extension and shoulder extension at the same time. Let's take a very light weight into the left hand. Now you don't have to use a weight at all to feel this. You can also use a block. So palm is facing up, internally rotated through the left shoulder. You can take your right hand and just rest it underneath of the forehead. Now I want you to tuck your pelvis and push your pelvis into the floor. I want you to press your left leg into the floor. And what you're going to do here is you're going to lift the left arm, lift your right leg. Doesn't matter how high, and then slowly lower. So it's opposite hand, opposite leg. Left arm lifts, right leg lifts. Keep going just like that. See if you can tuck the pelvis. And I mean, if you're tucking the pelvis, hip extension isn't that big. It becomes bigger when we start to arch the back too much. So I'm probably going to get more range of motion through my shoulder than my hip. One more. Try to keep that left arm in towards the midline. And then gently release. Let's switch. Right arm is weighted, palm turns up, tuck your pelvis, press your pubic bone into the floor, relax your forehead onto the left hand, right arm lifts, left leg lifts. Slowly lower. Nice and controlled. Keep tucking the pelvis. See if you can breathe into the belly here. And then gently release. Weight off to the side. And then from here, plant your palms, squeeze your shoulder blades together, shoulder blades down, tuck your toes under. See if you can press belly, chest, thighs, baby plank, and then downward facing dog. From down dog, let's make our way to the middle or the top of the mat. Doesn't really matter, whatever happens first. Grab your heavier weights that we use for the hip hinges. You're going to lift and lengthen halfway. See if you can pull your thighs back, pull your mat in half, lift your ribs into the body, and then round and fold over the thighs. Twice more. Lift and lengthen. Fold over the thighs. One more. Lift and lengthen. Pause. Press down into the heels. Use your glutes to come up. We're going to do that one more time because I think we have it down a little bit more the second time. Soft bend into the knees. Hinge at your hips about halfway. So going back into our deadlifts and then press up to stand. Squeeze your bum at the top. Hinge halfway. Remember those isometric actions through the legs. Totally up to you how much resistance you want to add. And if you don't have weights and you want to simulate tension, you can make fists and you can squeeze your fists. But I highly recommend that you grab something that's going to add weight. Okay, the next time we're in that halfway hinge, pause, lift your ribs, pull your heels back, separate your mat in half with your feet, and then fold over the thighs. Whew. Downward facing dog. Pull forward to plank pose. We've been here. Press back, downward facing dog. Pull forward, high plank. Press back, downward facing dog. Pull forward, high plank. And then lower onto the belly. We're going to start with the right arm. So we're going into that cross patterning opposites. Right hand weighted, probably a light weight or no weight. Stack the left palm underneath of the forehead. Press your pelvis into the floor. And again, we're going to lift the left leg and the right arm. Doesn't matter how high, and then lower with control. Keep going. See if you can breathe into the belly, the sides of your waist, and your back, okay, especially your low back. Let's do one more. Gently release and we'll switch. Left arm weighted, right hand under the forehead. Push your pelvis into the floor. So I have a pretty deep anterior pelvic arch, which is like a sway back, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I have to remind myself to tuck in this position to get some good hip extension. When you're ready, right leg lifts, left arm lifts. Lower with control. Again, try to keep that left arm close to the midline of the body. Let's see if we have one more. Gently release. Weight off to the side. Plant your palms. Retract the shoulders. So shoulders together, shoulder blades down. Tuck the toes under, knees up or down. High plank or low plank. Downward facing dog. From here, let's come to the middle or the top of the mat. Grab your heavier weights. Lift and lengthen halfway. Pause. Lift the ribs in. Pull apart your mat. Pull your thighs back. Nothing's moving here. And then fold. Two more just like that. Lift and lengthen. Fold. Lift and lengthen. Pause. Press down into the heels. Use your glutes to pull you up to stand. Great. So we have our first cardio interval. The way I have it set up is 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest, times 8 rounds. So if you're familiar with Tabata, it's that style. We'll get to do this interval again. The two exercises that I'm going to show you are opposites. So the first exercise, the first move, option 1, you're going to lift one thigh up into flexion, and you're going to take the opposite hand and press it into the thigh, vice versa. And then gently release and switch. Okay? If you want to add a little bit more intensity, I'm going to do like a mini hop. So knee goes up, and I hop. Okay? So I'm just adding a little hop. The second one, we're going to go from 3-leg down dog, right leg up, to high plank, right knee towards left arm. Doesn't have to touch. Right leg up, give it a kick, cross. Up, cross. After that, we go back to the knee ups, and then after that, we switch legs, okay? I will guide you. So 20 seconds goes pretty fast. I'm going to get the timer set up here. Grab water if you need it. Okay. So let's get set up here in 3, 2, 1, starting with our knee highs. So knee up. Opposite hand pushes into opposite thigh. So you'll see that jumping adds a little bit more balance and stability. Both are good. Okay, 10 seconds of rest. Next one leg down dog. You're gonna cross it over to the opposite elbow. And go for it. So I'm taking my right knee, crossing it over. The ankle weight is adding more load. 10 seconds of rest. Knee ups are next. They're like high knees, but we're adding the crisscross. Woo. You can go faster if you like. Okay. 3 leg down dog. Left leg is gonna lift. And go for it. Doesn't have to touch. We're just looking for the knee to cross the midline. Okay. Knee ups are next. Believe we're halfway through our interval. The weights add more balance and more load for hip flexion, which is the knee up. So extension was when we were taking the leg behind us. Now we're taking the leg in front of us and up. Okay, back to right leg. Cross it over. Okay, back to our knee highs. I'm going to take the hop out for this round because I'm not breathing through my nose. So I dial back the intensity when that happens, and that just helps to not make me feel overwhelmed. Okay, left leg is going to go up here. And let's go. All right. We're done this circuit. Great. So we'll get to do that again. Okay. We're going to play with these opposites in chair pose. I'm going to grab lighter weights here for this. And again, you don't have to use weights. So you're going to come towards the top of your mat, feet about hip distance apart. I'm going to face you guys so you can see what's happening here. Let's take one weight into the right arm, okay? You're going to sit back into your chair squat. Right arm is weighted. See if you can hover your left foot for like 2-3 seconds. You're not going to be perfectly like squared or symmetrical. That's totally fine. Foot goes down, press up to stand. Weight goes into your other hand. Sit back, left hand is weighted, send the hips back, right leg hovers. Hold for like 3 to 5 seconds. Foot goes down, press up to stand. Switch hands. Sit back, chair, send the hips back, drive down through the right heel, hover the left. 2-3 inches, foot goes down, press up to stand. Keep going. Change the weight. Opposite hand is weighted, opposite foot hovers. 2-3 seconds, send the hips back, foot goes down, then we press up. I'm going to turn this way. Let's do a couple more rounds. Sit back, one arm weighted, opposite foot hovers. You're going to have to lean on that standing foot a little bit. Foot goes down, press up to stand. One more. Sit back. I like to make a fist with my unweighted hand. Hover. Foot goes down, press up. Weight off to the side, and we're going to press to downward facing dog. Pull forward, high plank. Great. From here, let's come onto the knees first. So first variation, you're going to come to all fours. You're going to hover the right hand, hover the left knee, 2-3 inches off the ground. Keep your ribs in, breathe into your belly, the sides of your waist. This is one of my favorite moves. I learned this from Catherine. And then gently release and switch. We'll do this one to start. So it's opposite hand, opposite knee hovers. Try not to change your spine and your pelvis that much. I tend to arch a lot in my spine, so think about pulling your ribs in. Great. Let's press to downward facing dog. Right leg lifts, bend your knee, open your hips, squeeze your hamstring, heel to glute, step your right foot forward, step your left foot in, grab one weight. So I'm going to use a 10-pound weight here. Shorten your lunge so that you can tuck your pelvis a little bit here, so that you can get a nice stretch through the front of that left hip. So this is what we're going to do. You're going to hold on to the weight. You're going to bend your back knee, so right hip back, left hip forward. Bend your back knee, twist over to the right. Back knee hovers or taps. Draw yourself back to center, straighten the legs. Twist, bend the back knee, hover or tap, press back up. Let's do 3 more. Twist, lift. See if you can use your core muscles, your back muscles, to help you twist. Squeeze the left glute. Let's do one more. Great. Downward facing dog. So either coming into all fours, so that contralateral cross pattern movement we just did, or you're going to come to high plank, bring your feet wide here. You're going to lift your right leg, your left arm. So this is another one I did from one of Catherine's classes. And then release and switch. Bum is going to want to hike up here. So if you notice that your bum is lifting too much, come back to that all fours position. You're going to wobble. That's good. High plank, downward facing dog. Left leg lifts, bend your knee, curl your hamstring, step your left foot forward. Grab onto your weight. Step your left or your right foot in, shorten the lunge, just so that you can tuck your pelvis a little bit. Left hip back, right hip forward. And then from here, like you're lowering one straight line, you're gonna start to twist towards the left. Back knee hovers or taps. Come back to center. Twist. Come back to center. Couple more. One more. Great. Downward facing dog. And then from here, we'll come to the middle or the top of the mat. Let's lift and lengthen halfway, no weights. Take your hands onto your hips. Drive down into the heels. Come up to stand. We're going to do that contralateral chair one last time. Okay. Weight in one hand. Make a fist with the opposite hand. Feet about hips distance apart. Sit back into chair. And then lean into the side where the weight is. Lift the opposite foot. So my right hand is weighted. I'm lifting my left leg. Send your hip creases back. Foot goes down first. Push yourself up to stand. Switch. Sit back. Opposite foot grazes the floor. Try not to make it a big move. You're going to lean to one side, but try to lean as little as possible. Foot goes down. We press up. Let's keep going here, about 40 seconds. Try to keep your ribs in. Foot down, press. Great. Okay. All right. One more standing movement. One more cardio interval, and then we're starting to wind down. So a very traditional move, single leg deadlift with a row. So we could call this a one leg warrior three with a row. Okay, great. So what we're going to do, let's step the right foot forward. Left arm is weighted. Just like we did in those deadlifts, soft bend through the right knee. Hinge at your hip. Pelvis tilts forward. We're going to retract the left shoulder. So what that means is we're going to pull the shoulder back first with the arm straight, and then we're going to row. Squeeze your back. Take the left shoulder down away from the ear. Straighten the arm. Come up to stand. Tap or hover the left foot. Hinge at the hip. Pause. Pull the left shoulder back first. Shoulder away from the ear. While you row, bend the elbow. Keep it in nice and tight. Straighten. Push up to stand. Hover or tap the toe. Let's do one more. Keep the ribs in. Retract the shoulder. Row. Straighten. Press up to stand. Keep hovering the left foot. Take the weight into the right hand. Take the weight into the left hand. We're on the right foot. Cross the weight from side to side. Like you're trying to take yourself off balance here. Just creating some stability in that right hip. And then gently release. Okay, one more side. Left foot forward, right hand is weighted. Hinge at your hip. Slow, slow, slow. Retract the right shoulder blade. Bend the elbow. Straighten. Press up to stand. I'm a lot stronger on this side. That's okay. I don't need to fix the other side. It is what it is. Press up to stand. Hover or tap the right toes. One more. Come up to stand, hover the right foot. Take the weight into the left hand, open it out to the side, to the right, to the left. My foot is burning, my hip is burning. And then release. Okay, so we have one last cardio interval. Same 2 movements. Let's start with the knee-ups again. When you're ready, in 3, 2, and 1. Go for it. Knee-ups. Oh, keep going. I'm going to take the jump out for now. I'm really pressing my hand into my thigh and vice versa. Okay. Single leg down dog, opposite knee to opposite elbow, towards, doesn't have to touch. All right. Knee highs. I might go for a little jump here. Push the hand into the thigh, vice versa. It's a lot harder with ankle weights for this. Okay. Single leg down dog, crossover. All right. Knee highs. Push. Resist. So active hip flexion. All right. Single leg down dog. Cross it over. Push the floor away. All right. Knee highs. We have one more round after this. around, guys. All right. Okay, good job. Okay, so I'm going to stop here, but I highly recommend that you take the next 5-10 minutes or so, maybe to lie on the floor, do some light stretches, take a quick shavasana. If you are a member of my online studio, I have quick, like 10-minute cool down videos that are mobility and stretch. So if you are an online member and you're doing this video right now, feel free to do that. And if not, if you're Facebook Live, that's definitely something that you can do on your